I never wanted to be the guy on the lunchbox. I just wanted to play guitar. My name is Johnny Depp, and this isn't a story about fame. It's a story about survival, about remaining human in an industry designed to turn you into a product. I grew up moving a lot. Kentucky, Florida. A constant stream of motels and rental houses. We moved so many times, I can't even count them all. I was a weird kid, an outsider. I felt like I didn't fit in anywhere. Maybe that's what all that moving does to you. You learn to observe, to watch people, because you're always the new kid. You're always on the outside looking in. I found my escape in music. That was my first love. The guitar felt like an extension of me, a way to say all the things I couldn't articulate. I dropped out of high school, not to be a movie star, but to be a rock star. That was the dream. My band, The Kids, we had some local success. We even opened for Iggy Pop. We were hungry. We were alive. Acting was a complete accident. A buddy of mine, Nicolas Cage, suggested I meet his agent. I needed to pay the rent. Music wasn't exactly paying the bills, you know? So I went. I read for a part in A Nightmare on Elm Street. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just being myself. Wes Craven, the director, his daughter saw my headshot and said, "He's dreamy." And just like that, I was an actor. It was a gig, a way to fund the music. I never took it seriously at first. I was still a musician who happened to be in a movie. Then came 21 Jump Street, and everything exploded. Overnight, my face was everywhere. Teen magazines, posters on bedroom walls, lunchboxes. They tried to box me in. They tried to make me this clean-cut, teen idol Ken doll. I hated it. Every second of it. It felt like a fraud. I was selling a product, a carefully constructed image that had nothing to do with who I was. I felt like I was suffocating, trapped in a character that wasn't mine. They wanted a brand. I just wanted to be a person. So, I rebelled. As soon as my contract was up, I swore I would only do projects that meant something to me. Projects that were weird, that were challenging. I had to get away from that poster on the wall. I started seeking out the strange, the broken, the beautiful monsters, characters who lived on the fringe, just like I felt I did. And that's when I met Tim Burton. He was another outcast, another weird kid who saw the world differently. We understood each other without having to say much. It was a creative marriage made in some strange, gothic heaven together. We built worlds. We created Edward Scissorhands, a lonely soul with scissors for hands who just wanted to be loved. I understood his isolation. I understood that feeling of being judged for your appearance, of being fundamentally different. That role saved me. It allowed me to be vulnerable, to show the pain I was feeling from the whole teen idol experience. From there, we did Ed Wood, the so-called worst director of all time, but a man with such unbridled passion and optimism. Then Sweeney Todd, the demon barber of Fleet Street, a man consumed by revenge. With Tim, I found safety behind the makeup, the wigs, the costumes. It's ironic, isn't it? I had to completely cover my face, disappear into these elaborate characters to finally show the world who I really was. These characters were my armor, but they were also my truth. They were the parts of me that couldn't be easily packaged and sold. And then came the pirate. Captain Jack Sparrow wasn't supposed to be a hit. The studio was terrified. They didn't get it. Is he drunk? Is he something else? What are you doing? I heard that a lot. They were convinced I was ruining the movie. I based him on Keith Richards and Pepe Le Pew, a rock and roll pirate who was always slightly off balance, but somehow always landed on his feet. I trusted my instincts. I believed in this staggering, slurring, charmingly roguish fool. And to everyone's surprise, the world fell in love with him. That level of fame, it's different. It's not normal. It's a gilded cage. You can't just go for a walk. You can't take your kids to the park without a whole circus erupting. You become public property, a symbol. People don't see you. They see the character. They see the idea of you. And it's a very lonely place to be. You're surrounded by people, but you feel completely alone. You have to build walls to protect yourself, to keep a little piece of your soul for yourself. And then, just as quickly as it came, the tide turned. You learn very quickly who your friends are when the ship starts sinking. The world loved me. Then, in what felt like an instant, the world decided to hate me. The headlines, the accusations, the trial by public opinion, long before any trial in a courtroom. It was brutal. Everything I had built over 30 years of work, of putting my heart and soul into these characters, felt like it was burned to the ground in a week. I stood in the center of the storm, watching my life, my private life, being dissected and twisted by strangers on the internet, on television. My family, my children, they had to see these things. That was the hardest part. It felt like I was in a movie, but it was my actual life, and I had no control over the script. It was a surreal, painful, and deeply humbling experience. But here is the truth about hitting rock bottom. It's solid ground. It gives you a perspective you can't get any other way. When you lose everything, you realize what you truly have. They took the movie roles. They took the franchises. They called me a liability. But they couldn't take my integrity. They couldn't take my art. They couldn't take the music. And most importantly, they couldn't take my truth. So I went back to my first love. I picked up my guitar. I toured with my friend, the legendary Jeff Beck, making music, being on stage with my band, Hollywood Vampires. That was my sanctuary. It was real. It was honest. It was just about the art. No marketing meetings, no box office numbers, just noise and melody and soul. I am Johnny Depp. I've been the heartthrob, the monster, the superstar, and the pariah. I've seen the highest highs and the lowest lows this life can offer. And I learned that fame is fleeting. Money is paper. The only opinion that truly matters, the only judgment you have to live with, is the one you see when you look in the mirror. And when I look in the mirror now, I see a survivor. I see a man who is still just that weird kid from Kentucky who wanted to play guitar. And I'm okay with that. In fact, I wouldn't have it any other way. Thanks for listening.